Hey guys, how's it going? It's 8-Bit Eric. Welcome back to the channel. So just the other day, about a week ago, some rumors were running rampant on the internet because a few journalists and few reviewers that had review consoles of the Xbox Series X were reporting very big issues with overheating that people were quickly debunking and talking about it being overly exaggerated. One of the guys said he couldn't even use his hand on the system without it burning. I said that had to have been an over exaggeration, that there's no way in hell Microsoft would put out something that you couldn't even touch. Now, for a system to overheat, to be hot, that means that it's exerting the heat out of the system so it could properly cool down and stuff. That's a good thing. It means it's venting out. But now people are actually running tests, and an industry insider actually ran a thermometer test and it posted the results and talked about this. So we're going to read this article. We're going to talk about the interesting results that we found and possibly debunk the overheating issue once and for all with the Xbox Series X. Before we get to this, guys, if you have not subscribed yet, why don't you click the red subscription button down below and enable your bell notifications so you don't miss when I upload. Thanks a lot, guys, for the support. So here we go. Xbox Series X is much cooler than initially reported. An industry insider ran thermometer tests and determined that the Xbox Series X isn't quite as hot as other previewers have claimed it is. So this was in response to, I believe there was at least 2 people that tried to say the system was just red hot and loud and that they couldn't touch it, that it was barely running like cool at all when you were playing backwards compatible games, that they were barely even on the user interface menu, like the main home menu, and it started acting up. And I felt that it was kind of weird, honestly. I was like, nah, there's no way. But now thankfully we're getting people coming out and talking about it. So tests from an industry insider contend that the Xbox Series X might not be quite as warm as has been initially reported. The new console is set to release next month alongside its competitor, Sony's PlayStation 5. As the release dates draw nearer, fans are being exposed to more and more information about the new machines and how they'll run. With the powerful new hardware on offer from both companies, heat is a major issue. So this is definitely a major issue. People want these consoles to run properly and run good. So when those stories came out, the thing that caught my attention on it was it just sounded like a problem. That if there was any iota of chance that it was real, it was a bad thing. But as soon as I saw the exaggerated not being able to touch, I was like, nah, it's not. Now, heat prevention is actually the main reason behind the distinctive size of the PS5, so it's a huge sucker. The massive console incorporates a very large fan and heat sink, so if we've seen the teardown video, which I showed up, they have a pretty cool little like round fan that you can take off and look at it. Now it says initial hands-on sessions with the new consoles confirm how vital these measures are. As critics got their first experience with the Xbox Series X, many of them reported that the console had a serious overheating problem. While many users agreed that the console ran remarkably quietly compared to its predecessor, several sources agreed that the heat being generated was excessive. So this is interesting. To temper these remarks, Jeff Bakalar, so this is one of them from Giant Bomb, pointed out that it was only a preview model and that the finished version of the console might properly address this issue. So this is where this whole big debate and argument came from. I even got heat from it. People were like, you're reporting fake news, blah, blah, blah. I was reading the report and sharing my opinion on it. People don't wait until the opinion gets spread to start commenting. They literally click on the video and start clickety-clack, clickety-clack, instead of hearing me out. So anyways, according to VGC's Jeff Grubb, via Game Rant, there might not be an issue at all. Grubb ran tests with his own preview console and compared it to the Xbox One X. He ran the same game on both consoles, Hitman 2, and searched for the hottest vent on both. Once he located the vents, he inserted a thermocouple thermometer to measure the heat output from both machines. What he found was that the Series X actually ran cooler than the older machine, about 5 degrees Celsius on average. So 5 degrees Celsius. So 5 degrees is actually a world of a difference. I'd rather be in 70-degree weather than 75-degree weather. And Jeff Grubb, good old Jeff Grubb, he's always busting out interesting news, interesting topics, leaks, and stuff like that. If you're not following Jeff Grubb on Twitter, I recommend you do. So he acknowledged that his test was far from perfect, and again, it was only a preview build, but the numbers speak for themselves and seem to confirm what Xbox games marketer Aaron Greenberg stated in a tweet earlier this month. So I talked about that tweet. I made a video about Aaron Greenberg's statements and stuff like that. So let's look at Jeff Grubb's Twitter right here. So he says it runs significantly cooler than current gen in the same game and a Series X optimized game. The Xbox still doesn't get as hot as those consoles. It draws between 10 fewer watts from the wall in the same game as One X while running at a higher frame rate. And then he says, I tested this with a thermocouple thermometer. I felt for the hottest vent on each console and then stuck the sensor in a 1/2 inch. I turned on the meter when the game loaded and then played for 10 minutes. Results. So here we go. These were his results. This is very scientific, by the way. Very scientific. He even made a chart. So, holy moly. So you can look at this. Here's how each system performed. Max temp. 50.4, 54.5, 65 by the PS Pro, and 44.1 with the RTX. And you had average temp minute or minimum. So 47.7, 52.1, 62.5, 355. Minimum temperature 38.9, 50, 60.1, 32. So you can see it is on average significantly lower. The only thing beating it is the RTX 3080. So very interesting factoids right here as far as that goes. Again, Jeff Grubb is always a good Twitter follow, by the way. It says, with such conflicted messages about the performance of the Series X, it can be hard to figure out what to believe. A thorough test like the one performed by Jeff Grubb is an excellent start, but at the end of the day, fans likely won't have a definitive answer about how hot the Series X is until they try it for themselves. So I'm curious to see. I believe it'll be just fine. The PlayStation 4 I have, the basic core PS4, gets pretty hot. Like, Last of Us 2 made that sucker hot. So it says, with pre-ordering the way it is, that might be a challenge. So it's just going on to say pre-ordering is a hard thing to find about. But, you know, Jeff Grubb definitely does a good job showing people stuff and things like that. Couple thermometers, that is pretty fancy. But it's good that he basically went on his own, showed some research and stuff. So, yeah, again, I hope that puts the debate to bed that the Xbox Series X gets so hot that you can't touch it. I think that was the most ridiculous thing I ever heard, actually. I didn't get to see the live stream that the person showed saying, oh, it's hot. Maybe they were joking. Maybe it was a bad joke that was taken wrong, and I don't know, but it caused quite a stir. Trust me. If you want to see a stir, go look at the comment section of that video I posted. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be any much different than what the Xbox One S and the PS4 that I have right here, or even the Switch. All consoles tend to get hot, especially if you run them for hours. The ventilation process has heat come out, so I'm not worried about it at all. Very interesting experiment by Jeff Grubb, though. What do you guys think? Comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and your opinion on this. Subscribe if you haven't already, so you won't miss any of my uploads and you join the ABE Nation. I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.